Good morning, Australia. You got Matt Prater filling in for Neil Johnson and Andrew McLennan. Neither of them could make it today, so I'm the fill-in guy for the fill-in guy today. It is a pleasure to be with you on this Monday morning. Lots happening across the world and across Australia. We're going to be talking about some of the hot topics shortly with Rob Norman from the Australian Christian Lobby. Make sure you hang around for that. And also a long discussion today with a really good guy who's got a new book out. His name is Russ Matthews. His new book is called The Maker's Quest. It's due for release next month. He's a film reviewer, and he helps Christians engage with films without disengaging faith. He works with the City Bible Forum's Third Space and leads Real Dialogue, a creative connection between the Christian faith and the entertainment culture. He's got a new book that's been likened to a modern-day Pilgrim's Progress with a dash of Inside Out, Inception, Ready Player One, and While You Were Sleeping added for context. It's a parable of the spiritual journey of our lives. Looking forward to chatting to Russ Matthews a little bit later in the program. Also, we're 90 minutes away from Gerald Ross. He's a former prisoner who is now a pastor. He's going to be sharing his testimony. Hang around for that. On Faith in the Future with Dr. Camille Majuli. Our series is on relationships today, and we're hearing Camille's insights into opportunism and modesty. And we've got some interesting conversations ahead on this Monday edition of 2020. And it's my privilege to welcome to the airwaves today my good friend Rob Norman from the Australian Christian Lobby. How are you, my friend?
Matt, it's always good to be with you, mate. You are on fire and ready to go, I'm sure, and so we'll have a crack at it.
Absolutely, mate. Well, it's good to chat with you. We've got some hot topics in politics we're going to be talking about today. But before we get to that, disturbing news in Bondi on the weekend. And, of course, it's all over the news. Everyone's been watching these horrific videos on social media and on TV after Joel Couchy, a 40-year-old Queensland man, had killed 6 people and many others injured in a frenzied stabbing attack at Westfield Bondi Junction on Saturday. Mate, just heartbreaking pictures we're seeing on our screens. What are your thoughts on, as Christians, how do we respond when we see something like this, mate?
Matt, whenever we see these kinds of images, I know, people all around the country, anybody with a heart, which is all of us, you look at that and our heart just goes out to the families involved. There are no winners in any of these situations, Matt. Of course, the young man lost his life ultimately. Police bravery. What we always see, Matt, in these situations is that people step up to the plate and they go beyond their normal human capacity. I think we saw that on the weekend as well. So yeah, it's tragic. I know there'll be people on the ground supporting the families. You and I both, as pastors with backgrounds in that area, we know that there's going to be people caring for others, but it's just a terrible situation, Matt, and we certainly pray for the families and of the victims.
Certainly heartbreaking, and I was glued to the television on Saturday afternoon when that came on live, and it was a very tense situation because they thought they might have been another guy. Then they thought it might have been terror-related. All that was ruled out, and it turns out he was just a lone wolf. And, just heartbreaking that he's had this mental health battle with schizophrenia, and apparently he, hadn't been on his medication. Apparently he'd been sleeping rough. All the stories are coming out now about his story, and heartbreaking to hear that, he was based in Brisbane at Kangaroo Point, right near where my church has been based for years, right near where you go to church, in the inner city of Brisbane. Heartbreaking to hear that he had been in our city, sleeping rough, doing it tough, and then ended up in Sydney. It just kind of brings it close to home when you hear of something horrible like this, doesn't it, mate?
It sure does, Matt. Yeah. And look, as we said, there are no winners. This is just a pure tragedy, and that's the kind of pressures that people are living under. But like I said, Matt, it's always amazing to me to see the positive response of humanity. Yeah. There's a bit of God in all of us, and I think what we see in these situations is that people display that. We can always learn from these situations. I don't think it's even beneficial to comment on the circumstances or anything like that. at times like this, just to really express that our hearts go out to the families.
Mm. And, as pastors, Rob, one thing that we'll certainly be doing is praying for all those that are traumatised. But also, I'm looking forward to seeing the ministry response. I know that there will be chaplains, there will be pastors, there will be ministries that will be going in, caring for those that have been traumatised. So let's keep them in our prayers, and let's pray for healing and comfort for those that have been affected by this tragedy. On a global scale, the big news across the weekend was Iran firing many rockets and drones towards Israel. Some reports have said that 99% of them didn't hit their target because of the Iron Dome, and thank God for the US and for the protection of Israel across the weekend. I know there's many churches, I'm sure, were praying around the world for Israel across the weekend. What are your thoughts on the latest developments in Israel, mate?
Yeah, well, Matt, this is unprecedented. So Israel has now taken on a direct attack from Iran. Of course, Iran's been sitting on the sidelines commenting and supposedly supporting terrorism in both the West Bank and with Hamas, etc. So, look, this has really manifested the evil that's been perpetrated against Israel around the world, and we're seeing that. We're seeing an uprising of anti-Semitism. The question as to whether Israel has the right to exist, of course, that's the big one that Iran perpetrates. So it really is, again, another tragic. It's another big world event. It's something we should follow closely. Again, Israel has said that they will respond. We don't know what that's going to look like. And so, look, the only thing you and I can do, Matt, is to pray. And I'd really call your listeners and anybody that is Christian to really come before God and pray for the nation of Israel.
Absolutely. And pray for wisdom for Benjamin Netanyahu with his decisions, and for Joe Biden. I mean, those two leaders, imagine the weight of the world on their shoulders right now, because we know it's a melting pot in the Middle East, and we know that there are many enemies surrounding Israel, but we need to pray for the Lord's will to be done in the midst of this situation, and for peace, of course. So, yeah, certainly one to watch, and we'll be bringing any more updates, of course, on Vision National News throughout the day, if any other news comes to hand. Now, Rob, you and I were at a lunch together last week with a whole bunch of pastors in Brisbane, and I was so impressed when you got up to share some of the latest developments happening with legislation and just issues for us to pray for. I know you've got such a pastor's heart to see righteousness in our nation. There's a few hot topics we want to tackle today. One of them, firstly, is a national topic about gender affirmation. What's the latest on that topic, mate?
This is a huge issue, Matt, and really we've seen this prevailing model of gender affirmation throughout gender services in Australia, all the states and territories, even nationally. This model of gender affirmation. So essentially what it means, Matt, is that when a young person particularly presents as gender dysphoric to one of the health clinics, the doctors there are compelled to really affirm that person's social gender. And so they've based that on really flawed evidence. So it's evidence that's been produced by the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, or WPATH. And now what we've seen over recent weeks is leaks coming out of WPATH that have shown that evidence is flawed, that it's actually probably infiltrated by different activists and so forth. And so we're actually working off a flawed model. We've got gender health around this country that's now facilitating cross-sex hormone treatment and even surgery on young people. Now, both those treatments are permanent. There are real problems with them in terms of ongoing life and so forth, and young people being sterile for the rest of their life. So we are now seeing, Matt, evidence come out, and it's finally come out through a CAS. It's called the CAS review in the UK, and it's revealed the deep flaws in this evidence. And so the ACL is calling on states and territories around the country to order independent inquiries into this review. And we think that immediately that these services should be suspended, and that the administration of particularly cross-sex hormones should be stopped immediately while pending that review.
Well, it's so good that the ACL is speaking up on this. If listeners would like to make their voice heard, do you guys have something on your website, a petition? Is it best to contact their local MP? What's the best way that listeners can speak up on this?
Yeah, look, all of the above. We do have a lot of information on our website at acl.org.au on this subject, and that will grow. This is a big thing that's happening now. We're also running a forum, an online forum for supporters soon. So those emails will go out to ACL supporters. Jump on and subscribe is the best thing you can do, and you'll be fully in the picture. But Matt, the other thing we can all do is contact our local MP, and really express our dissatisfaction at this. There needs to be an immediate inquiry. I know that in Queensland, Shane Knuth, the MP up in North Queensland at Hill, he's asked for an independent inquiry. We're looking for that in every state and territory.
Oh, that's good, mate. No, those Catter boys are very outspoken with a lot of these very important issues. Of course, Bob Catter's son, Rob Catter, is very outspoken, and as Shane Knuth, good to see that they're speaking up on these issues. On another issue related to Queensland, the Queensland Prostitution Decriminalisation Bill is a big story at the moment. What's the latest there?
So, Matt, this bill's been bouncing around for a while, and we've seen a couple of attempts by the Queensland Labor government to introduce full decriminalisation of prostitution. The process really began last year, and then towards the end of last year, leading into Christmas, as often is the case, the government loaded up a big bill. It was an existing bill for youth protection, and it became a Trojan horse really for the legalisation of street prostitution. So that's already happened. What's happening currently is a new bill called the Criminal Code Decriminalising Sex Work and Other Legislation Amendment Bill. Now, this bill, I know that's a mouthful, but essentially what that bill will do is it will allow prostitution to have all the rights of any other job in any other industry. And so the flow-on effects of that are obviously horrendous. And we're looking at, sex trafficking. We're looking at a larger sex industry. We're looking at young people caught in the midst of an economic crisis in Queensland, a housing shortage, etc. And the temptation to enter into this kind of work for quick cash is just massive. And so it's a very serious bill, Matt. It has incredible social consequences. And obviously the ACL is pushing back very hard on this bill. So we're running campaign flyers in the Premier's electorate starting this week. And we have a large campaign. Again, this is one where people need to get on their phone, talk to the MPs, and it could actually be voted on as early as this week. So we would really urge people to take action quickly.
Certainly a very important topic to tackle there. Another one is the Queensland Live Births Bill, the Termination of Pregnancy Live Births Amendment Bill. And that's another one from Robbie Catter and the Catter Party. They've put that one forward, have they?
Yeah, Matt, this is a good news bill. We don't get too many of these, but I really love this thing. And, again, the Catters have led the way. Their social policy seems to be leading the way currently in Queensland. I mean, it's a dark place, and they are a light in that dark place. But this bill, it's called the Termination of Pregnancy Live Births Amendment Bill of 2024. So, Matt, the bill is essentially a human rights bill. And what it will do, if passed, it will give equal rights to all children, all babies born in Queensland, live births. Currently, your listeners are probably aware that we've talked about this before. Late last year, Queensland Health amended their guidelines to allow for the care of babies born after botched abortions. And look, there is a surprising number of those. There's up to 50 a year or even more. That number's increasing because the number of abortions are increasing. So this bill will ensure that babies born alive are given care rather than being left to die in a stainless steel kidney dish, which has tragically been the case. And so we've heard testimonies of people in these hospitals that have actually witnessed those events firsthand, and it's a terrible situation. Robbie's bill is a great bill. Again, it is due to be reported on before the election. So in many respects, this could become part of an election issue. It's certainly part of the platform that ACL is looking at leading into the election.
Now, I've got a number of friends that enter homeschooling, and I know that's a big topic right now. We tried homeschooling during lockdown, Rob, but my wife and I went crazy, so we sent them back to school.
Yeah, totally understand that one, mate.
But, mate, it is a big topic right now. What's the latest with the Queensland homeschooling situation?
Yeah, look, again, this is a good news story in many respects. And so the government is looking at reviewing the homeschool situation, and the agenda there is to bring homeschooling into line with the national curriculum. Now, many people go to home education because the curriculum has let them down. Their kids either have special needs, or there are aspects of the national curriculum that don't align with their personal values. And so families often choose to educate their children offline. In Queensland, Matt, we have 10,000 students presently being home educated. The good news of this story is that it's a real success in terms of grassroots activation. And so there is a petition that's currently being signed. The last time I looked, there were over 17,000 signatures on it. When you do the maths, 10,000 kids, 17,000 signatures, this goes beyond the current homeschool community. And so people are jumping on board. They're sending a very clear message to the government to take their hands off homeschooling. And so I think that's a great bill. It's not a great bill, but it's a great response to a bad bill. And, really commend those parents. It's an issue of parental rights as much as anything. People should have the right to choose how and when their children are educated. And so, I again commend that petition to your listeners. They can jump on board by going to our website again for that one.
Now, Rob, before we wrap up, I do want to ask you a question from a pastoral point of view and as a father as well. We just talk about homeschooling and raising up the next generation. One of the things I know that the Australian Christian Lobby, you've got a massive supporter base, but probably a majority would be older people, just guessing. And I would say churches in Australia, probably a majority older people. But we need to reach the next generation. We need to educate them on all these hot topics that we've been talking about today. We need to educate them about what the Word of God says about the pro-life message, about what marriage is, about, all these, about euthanasia, all these hot topics. We need to educate the next generation. What's your advice about how we can reach the next generation, not only in schools and youth groups, but in our homes? How do we teach the next generation these important truths from God's Word?
Mate, I wish we had another hour to talk about this one. I'm very passionate about it. Look, we have to, as parents, it starts with parents, Matt. It always starts with us as parents, particularly in Christian families. We have a real responsibility to engage our kids in the big, tough areas of society. Don't avoid politics. Talk to your kids about politics for a start. Yeah. I find, Matt, over the years that when I've spoken to young people about politics, they begin, their attention gets pricked. They start to engage. They lean forward. Yeah. They want to talk about those big issues. And so I think, we have to have those talks. And churches as well. As many forums as we can engage conversation with the 20-somethings, even younger. We've got to take those opportunities up. But it starts with you and I, Matt, with our kids, with our grandkids, every one of them, that we just take them on the journey with us.
Yeah, that's it, mate. I've got a good friend who sent their daughter to one of the ACL retreats that you guys do. I can't remember the name of it right now. What's the retreat that you do for young people?
Yeah, we do this. It's called the Download, Matt. It's a worldview camp. Yep.
Yeah, this friend of mine her daughter went to the Download, and she came back a changed girl, like she's in her 20s. And we've had some great conversations, from things that were sparked at the Download. I love the fact that you guys are reaching the next generation, raising up the next generation to speak truth in the public square. I love the fact that you guys are doing that. And, it's a great encouragement to everyone listening. We're we're often told, don't talk about politics, sex or religion, but we actually need to talk about those things and share a biblical worldview with the next generation. It's such an important thing. And Rob, thank you for stirring us up for that today, mate. Always great to catch up with you. Once again, the website is acl.org.au. You can search up ACL on all your socials, and we encourage people to check out the petitions and get in contact with your local MPs and, let's talk about these hot topics. Hey, mate.
Thanks, Matt. You're a champion. Keep up the good work.
God bless you, buddy. Have a good one.